Hello and welcome to the Brockton Community Access Art Gallery. Today I'm going to be interviewing our Artist of the Month of April 2025, Ed Bray, on some of his artistic inspirations and advice that he may have for aspiring artists. Without further ado, my interview with Ed Bray. So Ed, it appears that you've been studying and practicing art for a big chunk of your life. What would you say first inspired you to pursue art seriously?
Well, I've been mainly drawing since I was just a toddler. So I've been doing it forever. Um, and I never stopped, just kept going.
Yeah. And was there a certain point in your life, or maybe a light bulb went off, where you were like, I want this to be my career, or I want people to know me for my art?
So I had always admired Norman Rockwell, as an illustrator. And, I constantly taking trips to the MFA growing up in Boston, and another big one was Andrew Wyeth, the Wyeth family. Um, it's sort of a cross between illustration and fine art.
Okay. When looking at your work, it's clear that you've mastered your own personal style. How did you find your own individual spin? And how would you describe it?
Um, Probably, being influenced by other people's work. Like I said, I mentioned before, Rockwell, Wyeth, plenty of other illustrators that I was exposed to at the Rhode Island School of Design when I was in school. Just looking at what other illustrators and other artists that I admired were doing, based on some of that, copying or admiring, then you come up with your own
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, that's a good point, being inspired by other people, because I always am curious if, when you're painting, do you ever look at it and you're like, oh, this is too close to so-and-so style, or this looks like I'm copying so-and-so? Did you ever have that kind of conflict?
I mean, eventually, as you get older, I think the more you do it, the more you develop your own style.
Yeah.
But when we were in school, when we were in art school, they would have us copy master, some of the masters, like Rembrandt or, Winslow Homer or any of the master artists that we would see at the museums.
Yeah.
And we would do a replica, studying their techniques and things like that. So that's sort of how you begin.
And a lot of your work that's on the wall today is architectural. So I'm curious to know if these specific paintings are from memory, or if maybe you are replicating pictures.
That's a good question. So I didn't start out doing architectural stuff. I started out doing a lot of figurative stuff. I sort of developed that as I went along, but having an illustration background, I did, like I said, figurative, illustration that was geared towards stories and things like that. But what I've sort of hinted or hit upon with these pieces is nostalgia, I think, is what I'm trying to come across with, these older buildings, architectural, a lot of landmarks in the community that are actually no longer there, some of them. And so anything that elicits a memory in somebody, I think, is something that into at this point, and something that everybody maybe sees all the time and can appreciate, or maybe if it's not there any longer, like I said, it hits upon something that gives someone a fond memory.
Yeah. And finally, Ed, what advice would you give to aspiring artists that don't yet have the confidence to take their craft to the next level?
So it's an excellent question. I think I would tell them to just continuously look at what other people are doing, and I think that's what the internet gives a lot of people the ability to do, is to look at the level of where people are at. And I didn't have that ability when I was, coming up, because that was before the internet, and so we had to look at a lot of illustration annuals and art books and stuff like that. So I think being able to see what other people are doing, you can work towards bringing your work up to a higher level, and it takes a long time. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of drawing. And I think the other thing too is to continuously talk to people, talk to other people in the industry. I think is really helpful.
Yeah. And then finally, Ed, I just want to thank you on behalf of Brockton Community Access for allowing us to display your beautiful art in our gallery.
Thank you very much, Amaya. Thank you very, very much. I'm very grateful to you guys, and hope that people come and enjoy it.